Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Patreon requested video. And this one is a fight in which I am very much excited for. It is my prediction for the Ryan Garner versus Reece Bellotti fight. So this will be out on the Patreon around about a month, maybe, probably a little bit less before the actual fight, and then it will be out on YouTube a bit closer to the fight. And so if you are wanting to request a video or get early access to any requests that anybody else does, then head over to the Patreon. Or if you just want to support the channel, it is greatly appreciated. The link will be in the description. But yeah, so for this fight, like I say, I think it is an excellent bit of matchmaking, to be completely honest. I mean, Ryan Garner has gone through his fair share of wars. He's experienced a lot in seemingly his life, and possibly is in the best position that he's ever been. Realistically, I mean, boxing wise, you have to argue that he definitely is. He is flying at the moment. He's getting this support, and now he's getting tested with a real test in Reece Bellotti. I mean, Ryan Garner is probably coming off his best performance last time out. He dominated in Bournemouth and had a lot of success against a fighter who was coming over to the UK to fight him. But I think Reece Bellotti will be another test. Of course, they both have the kind of similar opponent in Liam Dillon, and there was two very good high kind of British level, well fought contests between the two of them, and now they both beat Liam Dillon the same way. Now they go on to face each other, and I think it is a very, like I say, good matchup to make. Of course, it is Matchroom versus Queensberry, and I mean, we're so accustomed to that now. It is, just a regular, and it's great to see. Of course, like I say, I do believe these styles will most definitely gel, and again, that's what I think is going to sell the fight and make it so entertaining, and I believe it will be a war. Garner has been pushed strongly by Queensberry, and to be fair, he kind of leads the way for the smaller Queensberry shows at the moment. There isn't a tremendous amount of smaller Queensberry shows in which they're doing, and by smaller I mean, they used to, when they were with TNT, do these kind of Friday night fights where they were often in York Hall, or they did a few in Telford with Liam Davies, where you've got a star name coming up, you're trying to build a brand, trying to get some hype behind them, and so you put them on a few good main events. But that has kind of faded away now. It seems like they're wanting to do less of them and deliver on these bigger events since signing with DAZN. So, it seems like at the moment Ryan Garner is pretty much the only one who's getting these whole cards to himself. And like I say, I think it is going to again sell well, just like he did in Southampton against a bit of in Bournemouth against a bit of an unknown opponent last time. It showcases that with his Southampton fan base, which is of course a football fan base, he's going to sell well. And he is, this, like I say, is the kind of first time he's taken a major step up, in my opinion. But I mean, the fact that he sells so well is just so impressive in the first place. Like I say, he's not a massive talker. I think the Southampton fans are just wanting somebody to cheer for, and the story of Garner is really impressive to showcase how he's gotten in this position that he's in. And so yeah, I suppose the fans can see that relatability aspect, or at least that raw natural aspect to his game, and they are getting behind it. And I mean, of course, when I speak about the story in which Garner's had to get to this position, you look back upon, I think it was about 2017 where he had the drive-in kind of ban incident, and he got banned from fighting for a little bit, and he had a bit of time off between 2018 and 2020, so he had that kind of time. I remember he got banned by the boxing board, and now since then, of course, it probably was a risk for Queensberry to be willing to invest in Garner after that, but he's delivered. So, money well spent, I suppose. And like I say, he has the potential to become a major star in the UK. And we will have to wait and see, of course, if he can deliver. But Bellotti himself, I mean, he's on an excellent run of form. I mean, you go back to a few years ago when he was fighting your likes of a Raymond Ford, who of course, that loss hasn't aged badly at all, but he was kind of down and out at that point, and fans were perhaps expecting that he would go down a route where he is just getting, unfavorable matchups, and he's not been able to win them, and he's, just looking good in fights, but just getting brought back just to be tougher tests for the prospects coming through. And he's definitely had to go through that, but he's not had an easy contest, and he's been able to rebuild himself. I mean, the shock win against Akib Fiaz, and then to go on to the Liam Dillon fight, which was his opportunity to main event a card, and that was very entertaining. And then even then, when he fought Levi Giles, he wasn't a favourite in that, really. It was still a 50-50 fight on paper. And then Gomez Jr. as well, that was still a very tough bit of matchmaking there. He's definitely not had the easy fights at all on domestic level, and you kind of have to look at the run that he's been on and just really give a lot of credit to that. He's definitely, like I say, proved a lot of people wrong, and perhaps even overachieved to an extent. And when you're fighting these British level opponents, maybe the level isn't as crazily high as certain world level fights, but it's still so intense and it takes so much out of you. I mean, especially that Dillon fight, just I suppose to the extent as to that of when Garner fought Dillon. It was just such a high, intense fight that it is going to take a lot out of you. And I mean, he might be in one of the toughest fights he's had on this run in Garner, and you probably would say from them names that Ryan Garner is on the best of form himself and is looking like the toughest name out of anybody he's faced in recent times, Bellotti. But like I say, you just got to give him his props and say that he is, in my opinion, got that typical British fighter style where he's just very, very solid, and it's going to cause a rough night for anybody who is not able to stand toe to toe and not able to be able to deliver and not have that kind of star type of potential. And there's very few fighters that will be able to kind of stick in there with something like a Bellotti, especially at a British level. But I think at the same time, he is deserving of kind of pushing past the British level. I mean, of course, this is for British, Commonwealth, and EBU European titles. I think that's, first of all, interesting to see that the European title is on the line with the British. Normally, they're not both on the line at the same time, but still, I think it is nice to see that they are giving the props to a Bellotti, and finally kind of, yes, he's still fighting for the British, but still, like I say, branching away from the British a bit. And if he does pick up that European title, I think that could really lead on to big opportunities for the likes of a Bellotti and, of course, a Ryan Garner if he does win as well. To speak about Garner more individually as a fighter, I mean, he's a high output fighter who is going to be coming forwards and is definitely a fast starter. I mean, you look at any of his performances, he is kind of going to be throwing onto the front foot straight away. Last performance, same type of thing against Liam Dillon. Again, same type of thing, going straight onto the front foot and coming forwards. And Bellotti is very experienced, like I've touched upon, but he might not be wanting to fight kind of instantly, but he will definitely have to be prepared for that fast starting ability. He backs you up, like I say, when he's coming forwards. He's got these continuous kind of hooks in which he seems to be able to overwhelm you with, and in general he is an overwhelming type of fighter who often can showcase a good kind of variety of work. He can fight at a mid-range, he can fight in close, he's got very good short shots when he's fighting in close. I think perhaps he can neglect fighting mid-range a little bit if he does get fully dragged into a fight, in which can happen, but when he is fighting at a mid-range, he is solid in that element, and he does often punch you all over. He's, I think, like I say, improving. I think both fighters are still improving. I mean, I think that Bellotti win against Gomez was arguably one of his most convincing performances in his career, so I do believe that both fighters are improving, again making another reason as to why this fight is such a good fight. Garner has excellent body work, and he's got solid reactions and timing, especially, early on and even in the mid rounds. He's got solid reactions and timing. I think the timing was good against Dillon. The reactions fade a little bit, but it is, there, and he's got a decent level of head movement. Not crazily good defensive movement, but it's all right. He can leave his head in though a little bit, and I mean, you say that he is going to get drawn into a fight. It probably is going to happen, and with the likes of a Bellotti, who is going to be most likely wanting to be in a fight as well, it probably will end up in a firefight, which, like I say, is just very entertaining. And I mean, I think he has got a bit of a lack of a setup, and he can kind of launch in a little bit. He was kind of doing the same thing over and over again at times, especially later on against Dylan, which was getting him caught. When he was kind of trading, he was trying to just trade and throw a hook, but he was really dropping his whole kind of defense down and leaving himself very much open. And then he was just getting caught with the left hook over and over again by Dylan, which was happening into the later rounds, and that's how he got cut, I believe, as well. He can be made to smother and he can square up his feet. He doesn't circle off the ropes that well, which is something in which I think Bellotti does do much better if he's onto the back foot. His balance when he plants his feet is a bit off at times, and obviously, like I touched upon, he does drop his hands. I think he can get a bit greedy at times, and as a kind of result, he's not really making the right adjustments. And again, I think that damage that he took against Liam Dillon could have really been avoided, but again, he wasn't making these right adjustments. And at times, I see that he's throwing his hook quite high up, and it means if you are able to bob and weave and kind of duck under shots, which I feel Bellotti is quite good at doing, you can kind of evade quite a few shots from Garner. Speak about more Bellotti as a fighter, he's definitely an in-close fighter himself. I think he, has an alright jab, which he'll flick out a bit, and like I say, he moves well, but, his best work will definitely be in close. He pairs up to the body as well very nicely and pretty much has non-stop body work. I'd say sometimes even neglects the headshots to an extent, but, his body work is excellent, and like I say, it's just absolutely relentless to the body. He will lean on you as well, so he's definitely physical. It might be one of the more physical tests in which Garner's had it so far in his career. He can fight in a clinch well, so if he does end up smothering Garner, I think he can fight in that clinch. He circles well himself, like I've touched upon. I think he's got underrated power. It's not really going to be power that's going to be knocking you out, but it is, relenting power, which, like I say, is continually going to the body, so it will be damaging throughout. He can box on the move quite well as well. I think perhaps he's got that element maybe a little bit more better, I suppose, to an extent than Garner, even if there isn't really much power when he is boxing on the move. He knows when to disengage for the most part. Again, he can get dragged into a wall, but he does disengage, I think, a little bit better than Garner, and I think his conditioning is very good as well. Negatives about him, I mean, he has a bit of a lack of a jab that he uses for a setup as well, and again, he can forget his jab. He can waste shots at a mid-range himself. I think Garner as a whole is a much better fighter at a mid-range when he does try and fight there. His head movement is okay, it's not amazing, and his defensive guard again in itself isn't really anything too strong. He can be outthrown to the head. He has quite a light jab, like I've touched upon. He will be hit, that's kind of no doubt, and I think he does start to load up quite late as well, which is again something similar in which I've seen from Garner. His timing is poorer in my opinion. He can be pushed back. He doesn't throw the best overhands, and so that's something in which Garner again is going to have a shot which will be better than that of Bellotti in my opinion. And I think you can see to an extent in certain contests when things are getting really tough, he does wilt a little bit, and that's when opportunities can arise for Garner. Who do I think is going to win? I think that Ryan Garner is going to be able to win via unanimous decision. I think it is going to be a very well fought contest, but I would like to see Ryan Garner, like I say, going with his mid-range work, fighting off a decent jab and pairing up his shots nicely. In his last fight, when he was fighting at mid-range, he was having a lot of success. If he doesn't get drawn into a tremendously, big dust-up, then I think he can have success. I think he can land more powerfully to the body. Bellotti might land more to the body, but Garner might land the more significant shots to the body, so we will see. But inevitably, I think, again, with the home advantage as well, and I think the overall better skill set, then I do think that Ryan Garner is going to be able to win. I would just like to see, like I say, a bit more movement in his work and, not getting out experienced by somebody like a Bellotti, which could happen, but I don't believe will happen. Who he could go on to fight next, perhaps? I think, Lee Wood could be a good option. I mean, Lee Wood's talking about maybe trying to fight a rematch against Warrington, so that might happen. That might, sway away. But Woods, signed with Queensberry, and yes, he's coming off a loss, and that could be a great opportunity to pick up a European title. And Woods in the past has had that opportunity to, he's come through the British level and, gotten to a world title level. I don't know if he'd want to take the drop down, but it could happen. Or the winner of Barney Smith versus Danny Quartermain. Danny Quartermain is ranked well in some of the bodies, not crazily high, but around about the same positions in which Garner is. And so that fight could happen. The winner of that, perhaps, as a good, again, I mean, Barney Smith's with Queensberry as well. That could happen. Or Rikishi, just to throw a name out there. There's plenty of other contenders around in the super featherweight division, but Rikishi is coming off a loss versus Nunes, where he was able to survive Nunes' onslaught. And again, he's not really seemingly signed to any big promotion, and it could be an opportunity to maybe get Garner out into Japan, or to just get him to fight somewhere outside of the UK against, a well formidable, tough, durable fighter who, then could push him onto a world title type of contention, especially if he was able to stop Rikishi. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like video if you did, like video, subscribe if you're new. And again, thank you very much for all your Patreon views. Yeah, thank you very much, and hope you did enjoy the video.